Welcome to Northwest Arkansas Investing Podcast, your go-to source for real estate investing in Northwest Arkansas.
Whether you're a seasoned investor just starting out, we bring you expert insights, market trends, and practical strategies to help you build wealth through real estate.
From buying and selling to property management and long-term investment planning, we cover it all so you can make smart, informed decisions in this fast-growing market. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Northwest Arkansas Investing Podcast. I got two co-hosts here, Mr. Brian Wagers and Mr. Zach Stanley. Happy to have both these guys here. And we just went through a couple episodes that I hope you guys listened to the past couple weeks. A little bit of deep dive on deals and then talking through pros and cons of short-term rentals and long-term rentals. But this episode, we want to kind of get into, we've done previously the Arvest Skyline report, but we want to kind of get into another kind of quick update prior to the next Skyline update coming out and just talk about kind of what we're seeing in the current state of the NWA market. Zach and I are pretty entrenched in the single family market and broker a lot of deals in that space. And so we see a lot of things there. Brian's in the multifamily space and doing some development and buying some bigger deals and kind of keeping a pulse on what things are happening kind of in each city as well there. And so we want to talk through those, but I guess Zach, give me just kind of a quick idea of kind of a few things that you've been seeing lately that have stood out, whether it be, the pace of houses moving, prices and kind of where they've fluctuated or even kind of anything else that maybe stood out lately.
Yeah, so Northwest Arkansas market, I'd say has differed a little bit recently. I'm representing, I have 35 listings right now. Now like 25 of those are land listings, but the other 10 are single family homes. And what I've been seeing as a whole is some of these people that bought in 2020, 2021, when the market was quick, the single family housing for the sellers is slower. Now it's slower, but we're still, the price trend is still up.
Yeah.
So we're just taking longer to sell and we're having some price drops, but the price drops are still hitting way higher. So what I'm seeing is a lot slower moving. I mean, I just had one on for 361 days and we just got our first offer and it was acceptable. And
yes, just speaking on that, I've got a quick note. Days on market. This is April in Washington County and Benton County. They're up 23% and 18%. So just
99, 99 average days on market for April 2025. April 24, it was 91. So your sentiment there of just feeling it.
You can feel it. I can feel it from the sellers. They're a little uneasy. And I'm just having to, at the start of things, go, hey, it might take 2, 3, 4 months to move this, maybe more. But we just need to be patient. It's going to be okay if you eat some payments. You're going to get your dollar amount eventually.
Right.
On the buyer's side, I don't know. Like I've heard mixed from our industry. I've heard people saying they really feel it. This is the busiest I've ever been. Year over year. I mean, it's
on that same token where you said be patient, Benton County is up, average price per square foot is up 7% from last year. So days on market increased, but prices are still
the prices are going down.
Washington County, interestingly, for April is only up. Well, it's still up though, 1.41%.
I mean, it might mean more concessions. Maybe people are giving washers, dryers, and fridges that aren't accounted in those things to get deals done. But as a whole, what I was feeling is being correlated on the data as well. I've been through a lot of buyers in this market right now, though. Just fishing for the right thing.
100%. And I think a little bit more going back to days on market going up so much and listings sitting a little bit longer. This isn't necessarily the case for Washington County, but for Benton County, there's 32% more listings than there were last year in April, which is interesting. The more new listings and the more buyers have to shop for, obviously the longer that a lot of these homes are going to sit. But again, what you see in both counties is, Benton County is up median sales price and price per square foot a little bit over 6% in Benton County, and the same thing in Washington County, a little bit over 6%. So we've just continued to see, the prices in Northwest Arkansas outpace inflation. And I don't really see an end to that because we're both, unless there was some big macro, we have no crystal ball, unless there was some big macro event that a lot of people were losing jobs or whatever, but we're still at what this says in April, 4 months of supply
Yeah.
in Washington County, and then Benton County, we're at 5 months of supply.
Yeah.
And I think to be in a healthy market, Kyle mentioned this way back when, but is that what, 12 months or 18 months of supply
12
to
to
be?
18 months. And
So we need to double our supply to be in a really healthy, balanced market. And it's just, I mean, it's hard to see that happening anytime soon.
well, there's what I've seen, at least personally, and you've probably, other people have probably seen as well, is there's a bunch of investors coming in here that don't give a piss if this thing's cash flows or not, because they're coming from a different market. They see the projections, and what they're comfortable with is different from what people in Northwest Arkansas are comfortable with. And so they're taking their comfort level that's more risk adverse and bringing it to here and going, I'll buy that, and give me a side of that, and waiting out for 30 years. I don't care if I'm negative for 5 years. You know, my positive is going to outrun my negative, and then they're taking that's a risk I'm not even willing to take. But they're going. I've seen on my end people, they're not caring about the cash flow. They don't. Now we're finding things that cash flow, like they're basically break even properties, which ends up people are super happy with that because they see what the area is. I have. When someone calls me now, I go, what do you want real estate to do for me, for you? And that will tell me if this is the right market for them or not. If they call me and they go, I want to retire in 5 years from cash flow, I'll say, you need to go look at Fort Smith or Little Rock if you're going to look in Northwest Arkansas. But if they're like, hey, I'm in it for the long haul, I'll say you're in the right spot. And we'll keep pushing forward from there. So that's a lot of what I'm seeing. Yeah,
absolutely. And when you continue to go up 6 to 10% when it comes to price per foot across the board, it's hard to argue that. I mean, if you can kind of keep it afloat with break even, or if you can make a little bit of cash flow, it seems like our market continues to shift towards a more appreciation market, like a Dallas or an Austin or all these other spots have been for a long time.
You get a lot of that out-of-state influence in the commercial real estate market too, and multifamily specifically. I just hosted a lender panel, one of our events recently, and they were talking about one, outside capital still increasing outside capital is coming into the market. Whether that's a guy from California, he's looking at purely basis. I can buy the same square footage for this much. Like, okay, I can sit on that and ride that. Yeah, way better. But also they were noting that people with experience are still getting deals done. These lenders are still lending loans, still doing a lot of deals. They're talking about guys who were doing deals 20 years ago and they were borrowing at 16%. They made it work when they could borrow at 6%. They made it work when they could borrow at 3%. They made it work at 8%. Now they're having to put in a lot more cash into these commercial real estate deals. You're having to put 65% in for a lot of loans. Sometimes you can get creative financing and up to 80%, depending on what kind of if you're doing like a HUD loan or, that's specifically on construction, multifamily. But there's other creative ways. But the new standard is 65% to them versus 80% used to be the new standard you would expect to put 20% down. Now they want to see cash in to support the SCR. But people who have experience are doing the deals. So that was a note I took away.
And a lot of, like you said, a lot of outside capital coming in. And so a lot of these guys are coming in and seeing opportunity for them to kind of add value to projects and get out in 1 to 5 years and really make a nice spread with how things continue to trend with absorption rates and incoming folks that are moving to Northwest Arkansas. The projections here are continuing to go up, and whereas everywhere else is either overbuilt or prices are starting to come down pretty heavily in a lot of places, we're still trending the other way. So
I'd say cash is king right now too. People seem like they have projects that they thought they were going to sell for this price, but they're still having to hold on to it. It seems like a lot of equity constraint. Now they're having to put more equity, but if you have the cash to put in a deal right now and make a deal work, you'll be very happy you did that 5 to 7 years from now. So I think it's just getting your underwriting in check and your assumptions in check. Maybe you can't underwrite for the extreme growth we've had, but we're still going to continue to get growth.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we're diving in more on a city by city basis, what I'm seeing is in Bella Vista, there's about 100 short-term rental permits left. You'll hear me talk about that in the episode before this. And so I'm advising my investors to get those as quickly as possible, because there's a 600 limit on that, and I think we're about 490 to 500, somewhere in that range. And so I'm advising people to get that right now. And so Bella Vista is continuing its upward trend. Centerton is still kind of chugging along like normal. Now, a big thing in Centerton is they did a really bad job managing the wastewater. And I don't know if you guys have heard about that. I don't know if Chase called you, but the Centerton kind of screwed the pooch on wastewater, and they're needing a lot more capacity. And so a lot of projects are just kind of SOL at this point. And so I'm really interested to see basically what I just said is like Centerton is building too rapidly for what the wastewater can handle and high fill. And I can get into the details maybe at a later date, but the capacity for sewage isn't there. And so a lot of builders that built and the city gave the thumbs up on, they're now like, oh, sorry. And so they're just having to hold land and pay interest-only payments for who knows when. I know we talked with somebody and they said it may be like a 2-3 year deal, 4-year deal to figure out a problem like that. That's like a $10 to $20 million problem to figure out.
Right.
And so I'm interested to see what that does for the rest of the area. I think maybe some of that building goes to P Ridge. Maybe some of it goes like, I don't know, maybe
probably south to Highfill and
stuff like that, just because we got to find other wastewater facility plants that can take the growth. And so that's we could probably do a whole podcast on that. Along the main corridor, I'm not really finding a lot of investor friendly deals that make sense in Rogers right now. Like downtown Rogers or Rogers in general, like around Pinnacle. I mean, it's too expensive. My deals I'm finding are Fayetteville, Centerton, Bella Vista, really as a whole, and then maybe some outliers of that. But like Springdale, you could maybe find some stuff. Fayetteville, right now the leasing cycle's getting done with for the students, and so that's kind of my 30,000 foot of the market real quick.
Yeah, I love that. Brian, give us a good idea. I know you got a lot of stuff going on, and you got a deal going on in Highfill area. You've got deals maybe happening in Springdale, though. I know you're bullish on Springdale. Talk a little bit about what those areas have been looking like.
Yeah, so right now, built in the early phases of a 200-unit development in downtown Springdale, right behind Luther George Park. So
love it.
It's kind of cool going full circle, because I haven't done anything in Springdale for a long time. My first ever deals were there in 2017, and people were like, "Oh, you're buying in Springdale? Like, what do you? Like, are you scared? Like, I'm like." No, first I grew up in Cincinnati, but it's fun. It's cool to come full circle, and like just whenever I go over there, go to Emma, it's like popping. Like Emma's always during the day, around lunchtime, at night. You know, I've hosted some events there at the Apollo. So I know some developers that were strictly only looking at Bentonville are only looking at also Springdale core. They were only looking at Bentonville. So I talked to these developers throughout the years, and before it was like, oh, we're only looking for Bentonville core. Oh, we're looking for Springdale now too. You know, the opportunity zone in Springdale is pretty phenomenal. It has spurred a lot of it's great if you can get in the opportunity zone. You don't have to pay capital gains, but whether you do an opportunity zone deal or not, the benefit has benefited Springdale really well. Because of the Waltons and how much they have invested in the area. The Luther George Park, obviously, it has a bunch of, we had Mayor Sprouse talking about that on a couple episodes, several episodes back. So a lot of cool things going on in Springdale. I think that is a great market. It's a big market too. And I think, there's different sides to Springdale. There's close to downtown. There's a big deal project happening on the kind of the other side of Springdale, the, huge pickleball complex mixed use. So Springdale's pretty cool because within Springdale, you have different submarkets within it.
So. Absolutely. And now just from an infrastructure perspective, you've got 612 now that'll run all the way from very east to 412 and then the very west to 412. That I think will really help congestion, obviously, and help Springdale continue, like people to kind of want to come to Springdale and drive through there. And then on top of that, I think even 112 going north and south, sounds like from Tawnytown to Bidenville, they're going to have they're expanding all that. They're putting in like 50 roundabouts or something stupid.
We're actually having Tyler Overstreet from the city of Bentonville planning, so that'll be fun to ask him some questions. So if you guys have any questions before that episode, reach us out, shoot us a message on, DM us on Instagram or LinkedIn, and we'll make sure to ask your questions too.
Yeah.
But overall, I think we're obviously still bullish on Northwest Arkansas, and we all own property here, and there's development happening for Brian, and Zach and I are continuing to look to find opportunities that are on and off market, kind of in the smaller multifamily space and in commercial space. And so we just see the data continues to point towards continued growth, and we're in a pretty healthy spot where we have a lot of buyers and inventory is starting to rise to where there's, it's getting to be more balanced, but we're still well under supply numbers. And I think that kind of poises opportunity for us as investors. And so any other thoughts before we kind of wrap up here?
I think we covered it really well.
I would say
quickly as we could.
Yeah. Don't throw away any submarket of Northwest Arkansas. Like every single submarket in Northwest Arkansas has some sort of advantage. To just get with an expert if you don't understand that submarket. Like get with someone who does. There's opportunity in each one of these submarkets. Just make sure your partner listening.
Absolutely.
100%.
Well, I love it. Well, thanks for listening to this episode. We're going to continue to bring value and have some great guests coming up. We just talked through a couple of deep dives for each of us and some other cool topics as well. So let's go back and listen to those. But thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Love you. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and list some sponsors off here. We're going to start with Whinstone Private Lending. This episode is brought to you by Whinstone Private Lending, one of the top private and hard money lenders now serving Northwest Arkansas. Whether you need short-term capital for a flip, a bridge loan, or creative financing, they've got you covered with very flexible products to fit nearly any deal, including 100% financing. What sets them apart is their deep expertise, fast response times, and ability to think outside of the box to help investors like us close quickly and efficiently. If you're looking for a real lending partner, check out Whinstone Private Lending. Link is in the show notes. Our next sponsor is from Flat Branch Mortgage, specifically Colton Kennedy. Colton and I personally do business together, and he's a wonderful lender here in the Northwest Arkansas corridor. Want to invest in real estate or purchase a home, but feel like you need a secret decoder ring to understand the process? You're not alone. First-time investors, house hackers, and future homeowners, Colton Kennedy has you covered. Colton Kennedy with Flat Branch Home Loans helps people like you break into the real estate market without the guesswork. Think of him as your mortgage strategist, helping you turn "I wish I could" into "I just did." You bring the vision, he'll bring the lending game plan. Let's make your first investment a smart one. Colton Kennedy with Flat Branch Home Loans. Contact him today by calling 417-437-0086 or emailing C as in cat, K as in Kimberly, ENNEDY at Flat Branch Home Loans. That's FBHL.com. That's 417-437-0086 or emailing CKENNEDY at FBHL.com. Thank you so much, Colton. So our next sponsorship is 1440 Photography. 1440 Photography is a local company here. I love getting local companies to sponsor this podcast. They're local, they do great service, and personally I can speak that they do a great job on mine and my clients' stuff. If you're an investor or agent in Northwest Arkansas, you need 1440 Real Estate Media in your corner. They're not just photographers, they're real estate market experts, and it's the only thing they do. MLS photos, drone, video, Matterport, whatever your listing needs, they've got it. Everything is a la carte and it's totally customizable. And here's the best part. Just book online whenever works for you. They confirm and show up ready to go. Fast, easy, done. Where quality meets speed. Book now at 1440photography.com. Our next sponsor is Advantage Title and Escrow. They're a local company. They do great work. Specifically Kayla Phillips. I can speak personally on this sponsor because I use Kayla for all of my transactions. It's been 2, 3, 4 years now, and Kayla and I have done a ton of deals. We probably do between 65 to 80 deals a year together, and they do a great job. The SOPs, so systems and processing that they have over Advantage Title, is just incredible. Clients love it. They do a great job from start to end communicating. When I give a deal to Advantage Title and Escrow, I know that it's going to be taken care of. There's no second guessing. I almost am able to treat them like a second transaction coordinator to my transaction coordinator that I already have. I know that they're going to handle the systems and processes correctly. As an agent, as a homeowner, as a buyer or seller, they do an incredible job of handling a transaction and communicating throughout the process. They do a great job with communication, especially Kayla Phillips over there. I would highly encourage you, if you're looking to close on a home, buy a home, if you're an agent listening, to use Advantage Title and Escrow, specifically Kayla Phillips. So you're going to reach Kayla best at 501-358-1601, or you can email her, Kayla, Cayla, at goadvantagetitle.com. Advantage is ADVANTAGE title.com. Our next sponsor is TDS IT. That's T as in Tim, D as in document, S as in solution, I as in information, T as in technology. This one hits personal. It's close to home. My dad, Tim Stanley, runs TDS IT, and he decided to sponsor our podcast. So I can speak from personal experience. I've been able to work for my dad in the past as well. And they're a great solution for business technology. If you're a local business owner or even out of state, if you're running a business, need printers, need information IT services, if you need phones, scanners, printers, all the way up to, you're printing books to, hey, we just need something in the office. TDS IT is that spot. They provide the best in-brand business technology with proven, best in local service, and they can prove it.
Special thanks to one of our sponsors who I've worked with personally on multifamily commercial loans as well as business acquisitions. People's Bank works with entrepreneurs, investors, deal makers, and risk takers. They're the ones who see opportunities where others see obstacles. Whether it's a vacant lot with a plan for a thriving business or making an old space new, they work with creators who think big and are not satisfied with the status quo. People's Bank helps you build Arkansas deal by deal and brick by brick. They don't just see numbers on a spreadsheet. They see your passion and vision. People's Bank. It's where people come first. Member FDIC. If you're needing loan assistance, reach out to Dakota at 870-883-1706 or DHEDDEN at peoplesbankar.com.
If you enjoyed the show, make sure to give us a follow on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an update.
Don't forget to connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn for more real estate insights and behind-the-scenes content.
Have a question you want us to cover? Send it our way. And if you're interested in sponsoring the show, visit NWAinvesting.com to get in touch. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.